Hey everybody, welcome to the West Dakota Dad. My name is Cody. This is my podcast where we talk about faith, family, and life. This is episode number 14, and it's going to be dedicated to a special someone. This episode is going to be dedicated to my beautiful wife, Miss Hope. Before we get into the heart of it, I'm going to start with Proverbs 31, verses 10 through 12, 17, 20, and 27. Who can find a virtuous and capable wife? She is more precious than rubies. Her husband can trust her, and she will greatly enrich his life. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. She is energetic and strong, a hard worker. She extends a helping hand to the poor and opens her arms to the needy. She carefully watches everything in her household and suffers nothing from laziness. When I read those verses, I instantly think of my wife because it describes her personality perfectly. Now I know what some of you are thinking, well, why didn't you just read all of chapter 31 under a wife of noble character? Well, I have, just not on this podcast. I had actually, once a month, I give her a handwritten card. I go to the store, pick out a card, and I write a handwritten note in it, usually very heartfelt and of Shakespearean quality, I believe. But I wrote this entire verses 10 through 31 in Proverbs 31 here in there. However, there are some verses, such as verse 13, she finds wool and flax and busily spins it. I'm sure if my wife literally found wool and flax, she would indeed busily spin it. However, I don't know how applicable in the literal terms it is to my wife. I'm sure there is some way that it was, probably a compliment, or if it was something back in the day in Hebrew, or how it was translated or whatever. I'm not sure of the theology and translation of it on how it can apply to today. So I left out some of the verses, and I'm sure as I go through here, there's more that is very applicable to my wife. But one of the verses, verse 20 here, she extends a helping hand to the poor and opens her arms to the needy. I would think if my wife was to write that herself, which that would mean she's writing part of Proverbs, she would actually not prefer the terms poor and needy, because she will extend a helping hand to anybody. It doesn't matter what their social or financial status is. She would extend a helping hand because she is definitely a big part of the golden rule, which is do to others as you would do to yourself. But yeah, if she was to write it herself, though, if she was to describe it, she would say that she would just help out people. And the people that she'd be helping out would they'd be just normal people, but they'd probably have just different circumstances or situations that they're in. Her job is supporting people, and she does it very well. And the reason why I can tell is because if we see one of the people that she supports out and about at an event or just at the grocery store or whatever, she'll say hi to them, or they'll say hi to her first, either or, and you can just tell the joy that comes among their face and her face. And, they trust her. They will call her with, just to say hi, or if they want to talk to her, or if they have an issue, they always call her. And it's not because they know that's the person they should call. It's because they honestly trust her. They like her. She has a relationship with them. And I think it's so cool. Because if we just go through my wife's day here, she gets up, She gets our daughter ready for daycare and herself ready for work. She goes to work where she works extraordinarily hard at trying to provide the best experience possible for the people that she supports. And then she comes home, and without even thinking about herself once, she will start supper, and then I try to clean up after supper and help out as much as I can. And then she, what do I want to try to say here? Oh, it's a little bit of playtime, and then it's try to get our daughter ready for bed, involving a bath, a story. That's my part. Actually, my daughter has been asking my wife to read her some stories, and it's like, that hurts, but I get it. We are both her parents. She loves us both. And I have no problem with that whatsoever, because I'm happy that she wants to hear some stories from her mama too. But anyways, so then there's that. And then about the last hour of the day, she finally gets to have some time to herself where she will unwind with getting on the bike, reading a book, playing some video games, whatever it is. She takes that time to just kind of unwind, and then gets up and does it all over again the next day until the weekend comes. And it is incredibly awesome of her. She is the most selfless person I know. Whereas I have some selfish tendencies here and there. They, because after I get off work, sometimes I don't think about her day or what I need to get done at home. I just want to lay down, kick my feet up, relax. Not always, but it's something I do need to work on, that when I get home, I just instantly need to, okay, what do I need to do to make it easier on my wife? And, make our day, so we both can relax and have a nice evening with the family. So it's just something I need to work on. But speaking of Proverbs 31 here, I don't know, and I don't know if I completely trailed off track here and I'm just swinging back around. I don't know if my wife has read, which she probably has, Proverbs 31 prior to meeting me. But even if she has, I don't think she had read it and said, this is what my goal is. This is what I want to be, as a wife, as a mother, as a daughter, and so forth. I think it's honestly just naturally programmed into her heart. The reason why I say that is perfect example here. The other day we had an emergency in our neighborhood. I'm not going to say what the emergency was, and I'm not going to say who was involved. I'm just going to say we had an emergency in our neighborhood. And so, by the way, everyone's fine and safe, so we're good there. And it did not involve any weaponry or anything like that. It was an emergency. So we had an emergency in our neighborhood, and my wife told me, I come upstairs, I look outside and go, oh. And before it finally processed what hit me, she was outside in freezing weather with no shoes on, in her workout clothes, which was a tank top and her yoga pants, or I guess I don't know what they're called. And she is running over to the neighbors that are involved in the emergency, asking if there's anything she can do. Then she ran over to our next door neighbors and told them what was going on. And all before I was like, oh boy, I should see if I could do something here. And you could take that as in she is super fast at responding, which I hope you do, because it's true. She's very quickly to respond to that. And rather than myself being very slow to respond, which is something I'm definitely working on. But whereas for me, I'm trying to train myself to be, as soon as I see something where someone needs help, I respond as quickly and as effectively as possible. Whereas it just clicked, boom, she's right there. And that's where I think it's a little bit programmed differently, is where she recognizes and acts because she's programmed that way. Whereas I am training to be that way. excuse me, I guess you could say, whereas I was a little bit more hesitant to the situation. But yeah, she's just flat out amazing. She is selfless. She is loving. She's caring. And for those of you that think I'm doing this episode because I'm in trouble, that is incorrect. She has no idea that I'm doing this, and I love her so much. If she's watching, babe, I love you. I'm just really thankful that she, chose me, said yes to me to be her husband for the rest of her life. It's truly amazing. I am so thankful. And I really owe it a lot to her for making me to want to be a better man and father and husband and child of God. So this is episode number 14, dedicated to my wife. Babe, I love you. I hope everyone else has a great day. And if you're a husband out there, give your wife a little attention if you have not lately, because they really do a lot for the family. And yeah, this is number 14 in the books. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to the West Dakota Dad Podcast. If you like what you heard, please drop a rating, share with your friends, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any content.